Welcome to the Coach's Preview Show. I'm your host, Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, and I'm very pleased to have as our special guest this week, week one of the football season. We've got Summit head football coach Brian Coleman, Independence head football coach Scott Blade. Gentlemen, thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So the border battle, that is this week's WCTV game of the week. Obviously a big rivalry game there. It's not a region game, and we certainly don't have, I hope I'm saying this right, the old Z plan where, it got into how many wins you had. But this one still matters, and it's a pretty special rivalry, right, Coach Coleman?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt. We've always looked up to the Indy. We're the little brother kind of sort of just because we branched off from that school. So, it's always been a great rivalry. Always a good barometer for our football program.
Coach Blade, he's already trying to sell the little brother thing that woe is us at Summit, right?
Yeah, he's done a great job over there. Those guys have, it's no longer the little brother. They're legitimate in our eyes and the rest of the state's eyes. He's done a great job getting that program where he wants to get. He's got some terrific athletes over there that I'm sure they're excited to get, just like our guys are excited to get this one going.
Independence holds the overall lead in this series 5-2, but you guys have split the last 4 years. As the competitiveness of the game has grown, do you think that adds to maybe making the rivalry even more intense? I'll start with you, Coach Blade.
Yeah, the competitiveness. This is like I said, we're not region yet. I think we both probably think we'll be in the same region eventually. At least I do. Can't speak for Brian, but they've got their program right where they wanted, right on the edge, and just a few short minutes last year from being on the top of 5A. They've got couple incredible athletes over there that can really take them a long way this year. So the competitiveness is definitely there. And to start off here, week one, crosstown, separated by just a few minutes, is a great way to kick off the season.
Coach Coleman.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a blowout like it was when the first few times that we played. So now I believe everybody around wants to see a good football game, and that's what it's been at least the past 4 or 5 years, I believe. Always a good game, fun game to watch for the fans and students. The students love to watch it too. So, it's fun. But like Coach Blade said, it's the first game. Everybody's excited about high school football now because it's the first game. So, what better to kick it off than a crosstown rival?
Again, we're talking border battle, Summit Independence this Friday night, week one. Coach Coleman, talk about this. Getting ready for this season hasn't been easy. I know it's been kind of touch and go about what you could do and what you couldn't do. Talk about how that's been for your team, maybe the ups and downs of not really knowing if we were going to be able to start on time or start at all.
Yeah, it's definitely been unique. Everybody can say that. You go through the whole month of June, basically conditioning. I couldn't do much else, and had restrictions and things like that. And then you start in July, and you really don't know. You really don't know what's going on or what's going to be the next week. So we just kept telling the kids, just focus on what we can focus on. Let's try to get better every day and practice as if we were going to play Indy that first week of the season and try to be ready for that game. And it's going to be different. I don't know that we usually get the scrimmages. We usually get 3 scrimmages, and we can only run them so much or condition so much that game type experience is hard to duplicate in practice. So it's going to be a wild Friday night, just because it's going to be wild tonight because you're going to have to build a lot of depth, and that's what we've been working on is a lot of depth because. I don't know how good these kids are in shape, and I really we don't even know the identity of our team. It takes a few scrimmages to figure out what you're good at, what you're not good at. We didn't get that, so it's kind of learning on the run of what kind of football team you have. Do you have a very physical football team? Do you have, I mean, what are you good at offensively, defensively? So it's going to be learn on the go, especially this week.
Coach Blade?
Gosh, dang, just replay what Coach Coleman said. All those things are, real evident. Obviously, the offseason was real a challenge, and especially when you have certain key positions to try and get reps and try and replace. The one thing I will say the kids have done, and I'm pretty sure Coach Coleman will say the same thing again. The kids have been real resilient. The kids have been in a time where much of the world is woe is me, and it can be a real negative place. The kids have been positive. They've showed up, and they've done everything we've asked them to do throughout every restriction and every guideline and the changing, evolving guidelines of day to day. Our kids and our parents and our Independence football family has really responded about as good as possible. And for that, we're really, excited. As to what Brian was saying, we don't know the scrimmages, the 7-on-7s, for instance, those get valuable reps just for everybody. Even though they've got a couple of key dogs coming back, you're still going to put in new people out there. Maybe they were in the program last year but didn't have a ton of playing experience, and so those reps are so valuable. And without the full tackling to the ground, we typically don't do that. Even when we're going ones against ones, we don't typically do that. So even our, not only the tacklers, the tacklee, I know those probably aren't words, but both of them, have yet to actually hit the ground. And then what's their response from that? So there's going to be, unfortunately, there will be first scrimmage type of mistakes. Both sides, we're going to agree that we hope that we can minimize them so that we can put on a good show. But that's the thing that I'm, worried about with missing some of those things is just the ironing out some of those detail things. And again, knowing what we can and can't do well, and knowing who can really do what. Right now we think we know, but until we actually get out there and go against somebody else, you just don't know.
Coach Coleman, did you think, based on what we were going through, did you think we would be here talking about tonight's game, Summit at Independence? What did you think? Where did you think we were heading?
Well, I think us as coaches, as head coaches especially, had to be optimistic. You know what I mean? I had to be positive about it. So I was always positive about it, especially in front of the kids. I mean, even the community also. I mean, that way that first game didn't really sneak up on you. I mean, then you were kind of mentally prepared for the game this week. You know what I'm saying? So, those feed off of us too. If we were negative Nancy the whole time, saying, we won't play till week 3, you can imagine what the team mindset would be if we had that mindset. And like Coach Blade said, these kids, community, they've done everything we've asked them to do. As far as, the mask, sign in, temperature, all the things. I mean, it's just like clockwork now. These kids, they wanted to play. They want to do the things that to be able to play. So, kudos to them. And so with that respect, I think we had to be positive and think, we're going to be able to play that first week.
Same thing, Coach Blade. Did you think deep down we'd be playing tonight?
Honestly, I didn't think it would happen until I thought the September 18th, the one they had, once that came back after dead period, that was probably what we were thinking, what we were preparing for. We were still conditioning. It was hot as heck the first part of July, and so our preparations were probably more in line with a later start. Also watching what's going on throughout the rest of the country and the late delayed starts there. But once they said it, obviously we were all on these Zoom meetings and everybody else shifted into high gear to get to where we are tonight. And I'd like to say thanks to the, I know Brian wants to probably thank his parents too. We've done our stadium cleanup last week, the campus cleanup. Our administration, starting with Dr. Patton and her whole team, including our athletic director, Mary Beth White, and Dr. Weiss, our principal in charge of athletics. They've really gone overtime, and I know we're working long hours. Since the news, it's been, wow, 3 weeks of extremely long hours, a ton of meetings. But our administration and our parents have really, really taken up the slack and have gone full speed ahead. And the stadium looks great; it's ready to go. But that's from a ton of people, not just me or my coaches or these players. I mean, there's a ton of people in this community that have really pitched in to see that we get to have a first class game against a first class opponent.
Well, and you guys did a good job too. For those out there watching, the coaches in the district, they worked really hard on coming up with a plan that was acceptable, that was a little bit more than just conditioning, and maybe wasn't a typical game-like practice, and easing into, hey, let's do more than just condition, but let's make sure that we're ready for week one if we're able to play August 21st. Of course, now we're right there getting ready to play. Coach Coleman, talk about this a little bit. We obviously have restrictions in terms of who can be at the game. It's going to be about a third of what we would typically have. I know we're coming up with some creative ways to put people in stadiums. Does that impact the game tonight? A little less in terms of student sections and that type of thing? Or are you guys going to be so focused it doesn't really matter?
I guess it will. I mean, just for the fact that the kids will look up there and there's not that much of a student section, and but like you said, your last sentence, you said when it comes down to it, I mean, it's going to be football. It's going to be against Independence. So a little bit. I mean, but if it takes the student section to rile you up to play Independence, then maybe we're not in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So, I mean, these kids will be ready to go, and yeah, it'll be different, but it's still going to be a fun football game, I believe.
Coach Blade, one thing I always talk about being in Williamson County, and I don't think anybody can really say anything against this. Our crowds, it really makes it pretty special in terms of our athletics. So it is going to be a little bit different tonight there at Independence. What are your thoughts about that?
Again, different, absolutely. But they are, again, our administration has done everything they can to be as safe as possible for the people in the stands. Sidelines will look, different. I mean, everything will look different. However, at the end of the day, we're going to play. And like Coach said, it's still about those two teams on the field, and then their communities that have made everything come together. So, I mean, yes, the typical Williamson County crosstown rival gate, if you will not be the same. However, I think it'll be an amazing environment, and just the fact that we'll be on the field together playing football on Friday says a lot. So regardless of how many people are in the stands, we're both excited.
And obviously with this game, the WCTV game of the week, those that can't be there attending the game, they'll have an opportunity to watch on WCTV. Coach Coleman, what about starting the year with this type of game? You like that? Would you like it to be a little bit different type of game? But this is pretty intense for game one. What do you think about starting the year this way?
Very intense game one. Yeah. I mean, if I had my pick, I don't know. No, it's good. I mean, it gets the juices flowing. It gets you going. It's fun for everybody. I mean, I'd rather play. I don't know. I don't want to say I'd rather play a struggling program. That wouldn't be any fun. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and start with one of the best in 6A and go from there.
It's so interesting to me. I've always been fascinated with football as compared to something like a sport I coach, basketball. Every game, because there aren't that many, they're such a big deal. They're almost like events. And it's not like you can say, oh, this was a early season game. We tried to play a few people, although you guys are obviously going to try to do that too. But let's face it, you're only guaranteed 10 of these on a normal year. And maybe, who knows, with this year could be less. Talk about that, Coach Blade, this being this type of game in game one.
Well, if it was a region game, I would have preferred a game later on in the season. And like I said, we had talked, that may be the case, moving forward. We don't know that for sure, but because it's I do like that it's these crosstown rivals. This is there's going to be a radio show. There's going to, this is a big game, and it may be our only game. Let's be real. So they've proved they've taken away football. They've taken away the Olympics. We're just high school football. We're approaching this. We're playing on Friday, and if we get to play next week, then heck yeah, and the week after that. But it's the proverbial one game at a time has never meant more than right now. So if that's the case, this is what our communities want to see. Our kids want to see. This game means a lot, and again, this is different than years past, where just getting on the field and getting to this point is a big deal. And honestly, doesn't matter who may have possibly had an edge coming into this one. The reality of it is we really don't know how our teams are going to respond. We'd like to think we do, and we'd like to, guess about that, but at least I don't. We can practice as intense or not intense as we want, but it sure ain't Friday night under the lights on the nice field. That's a whole different set of circumstances. So I wish we had some more the scrimmages to get a better feel of what we're doing, but regardless, it's a great opportunity.
Again, we're here talking with Scott Blade, Independence High School, Brian Coleman, Summit High School. The border battle takes place tonight at Independence High School, our WCTV game of the week. Independence leads the overall series 5-2. Again, 2-2 the last 2 years. Summit coming out on top last year, 34-15. Coach Coleman, you end up 12-3 last year. And, I think something people forget, you guys had some tough breaks with injuries throughout the year. You end up third in a very tough region, but you make it all the way to the state championship game where you finish runner-up to Knoxville Central. I'm sure your guys, because you've got some key guys back. You've lost some guys too that we'll talk about in a minute. But I'd say your guys are pretty hungry after getting a taste of that state championship game.
Yeah, I guess they're hungry, but they've also got to understand now the target's on their back. I've said this a bunch to them. I mean, now you get everybody's best game. You can't have an off week. I mean, you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore, stuff like that. So they've got to understand that they've got to bring it every week now. So their mindset's got to change. We've never really been in this predicament before of the hunted. We've always been the hunter, I guess you could say, if that's okay. But yeah, and you can't. I mean, it's a new season. It's a different season. What we did last year is not going to win us a daggum thing this year at all. I mean, it may make it harder. And like you said, we had a few injuries, and we're able to recover from that. We're third in the region. I mean, and preaching to the kids, we've only won our region one time, and this is our 10-year anniversary. So, our first goal this year is to win a region, you know what I mean? And to get that second region championship to, better you in the playoff positioning if you can, if that happens, but, we're going to think positive and think in that direction that all this is going to happen, you know what I mean? So, but that's just a different position these kids have been in.
Coach Blade, you guys, after dropping that opener last year, I think some people were saying, not you, obviously, that, man, this may be a struggle this year for Independence. No disrespect to Summit, obviously, but, you lost the first game to your crosstown rival, but you end up 7-5 overall. You make it all the way to the second round again before losing to a very good Brentwood team. And on a side note, by the way, and I know he's since left the school, but the coach at Knoxville Central, you had some history with him, right?
Yeah, he was. I had given him his start back in 2008 at Hillsboro. That's a fun story how that connection started. But yeah, and then he came with me to Oak Ridge. So we have he's a dear friend of ours, my wife and I. So
I thought that was an interesting connection. Even in the 5A state championship game, we had some a border battle connection, so to speak. Let's talk about this year's teams. Coach Coleman, I'll start with you. Let's talk a little offense. Obviously, when you talk Summit Spartans, you got to start with Destin and Keaton Wade and what they mean to your program. It's pretty special to think that those guys are only juniors. I think they're going to be two young men when they finally do graduate. People are going to say, dang, they have an extra 2 years of eligibility. Pretty special players there at Summit.
Great players and great kids, man. They're just fun to coach. Very easy for our coaching staff to promote those young men. I mean, they're excited every day. They really never have a bad day. It doesn't seem like, as far as being down or being irritated about going to practice or anything like that. They're just great kids. They soak everything up. Teammates love them. They just gotta. I guess the only thing they need to work on is leadership. I mean, they've always led by example. Now they got to be vocal leaders. Only as juniors, I know, but the team does look up to them. Destin has some things to prove this year as far as passing the ball. We all know he's a great athlete. He can run the ball, but I think he wants to prove some things that he can play quarterback at the next level. They've got some things they need to work on and that they want to work on and get better. But first and foremost, they want to be great teammates, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, great young man. You can tell by being around them. But talk about this, Coach. I think some people, they may be mistaken. And don't get me wrong. If it gets to the end of a game or as the season progresses, it's not like every single play it's going to have those two guys run the ball. Obviously, Destin's going to have the ball in his hands, but you've got some other weapons that you're excited about too.
Yeah, we've got some running backs we're going to use in there. Ja'Kalen Cotton, Trey Hunter, John Dipples came in. He played baseball last year. This is his first year to play football with us. So we're going to run them and running back a lot. Got a lot of weapons on offense. I hope Maddox Reed has been doing very good. He's put in the time in the weight room. Of course, Brady Pierce is he's a better defensive player, but this year I think he's going to have to play a lot of offense, just to get the depth on offense. So that's the difference in last year's team and this year's team. I think this year's team, we're going to have to play more of our corners and our safeties. They're going to play a lot of wide receiver and slot for us.
Coach Blade, obviously, last year when you talked Independence offense, you thought about Ethan Cash was the first, I think, name that pops up. And your relationship with him, I think, was pretty special. We talked about that several times. And now you transition and you move an all-state wide receiver, Jackson Campbell, to quarterback. And I had an opportunity to be around Jackson a little bit during media day. And I'll tell you, that guy, he's an alpha dog. He's confident in himself. At least that's the appearance he gives. You've got to have some confidence in him athletically to have him move over from wide receiver to quarterback. And obviously what you like to do offensively, that quarterback position is pretty important. It's important for anybody. But I know it's really something that's pretty important to you in your offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So he started out as a freshman playing quarterback, and we even brought him up. This is now, I think, 17. We brought him up. He dressed on Friday nights. He even got in a couple games when we were struggling. As a sophomore, Ethan moved in. He goes to corner. Gets his feet wet there. Last year, he was our leading receiver and was an all-state DB. And here's the reality of it is when you lose a quarterback, you either have someone that's been in the wings and can run it right now, and we feel like we've got another three guys besides Jackson: Hunter Howard, Drew Blaylock, Brooks Sapone. They're all guys that we think can play quarterback. Jackson brings that leadership. So every day bringing a positive attitude, kind of like what Brian was saying about the Wade twins, just having, juice, bringing juice to practice. He's not going to be perfect. But he's going to work on being perfect, knowing it can't be attained. So we're excited to see him. It is a little bit different what we're doing, and guessing on what we think is our comfort zone within our package. And what
Do tell. Elaborate on that a little bit, Coach. Tell me.
I was,
Go ahead.
trying to be as vanilla as possible, knowing you might say something, but we feel like we got so many new guys on that offensive line. There's 4 guys that are new. A couple of them have a little bit of experience. Some new skilled guys, with taking off the best one and putting them at quarterback. So we just have, we just, when I say we just don't know, I mean it from, the bottom of my heart there. We just don't know what we're going to be good at yet. We have an idea what we're going to try and be good at, but you just don't know until we get between the lines. And defensively, we do have some returners there, and we got, a lot of just good high school tough kids playing those positions, not anything Power 5 or something. We just got good kids that have really bought into what we're trying to do. And the thing is with, I don't know, last week, I think I was out 2.5 days. Yesterday, I got sent in after an hour. We get lightning, we get the heat. So it's not only just, hey, you're starting in 3 weeks. Now you're putting stuff in the gym, or your practice gets cut short because lightning's within 10 miles. It's been an incredible challenge to try and get comfortable with your team and what they can do, and them get comfortable as well. So there is a lot of question marks, but we do like, the kids and their attitudes, and especially on defense, we feel like, we're going to have to rotate a bunch of guys. So it's not just 11. That's probably going to be 25 guys that'll be playing. If history holds up, these first games have been really humid and hot. And so that second half, man, there's guys that we had no idea we're going to be playing are going to be playing. So should be interesting.
And Coach Blade, I thought your defense really was underrated at the beginning of last year. And I thought, they were a big part of your success. And I know you and I've talked about that before. Coach Coleman, on the defensive side for you guys, obviously Gio, Kiston Arnold, Jalen Harrod, some guys that you lost, but give us kind of a preview of what Coach Melton and that defense will look like this year.
Yeah, really going to miss some key guys, and you named them. Kiston Arnold and Hayden Bell and Jalen Harrod. Really going to miss them guys in the middle. Replacing them is number one priority for our defense to get some physical guys, up front to replace them. Do have some returners that like you said, I talked about Brady Pierce and, a couple guys at Kaneda Wirtz at corner. Ja'Kalen Cotton's going to play some corner too and running back. A couple guys, fighting for safety. Just a few guys that we're going to expect a lot out of Jacob Turner. That's a name that he's a younger guy that we're going to have to see what he can do at middle linebacker to fill for Jalen. I hope he can do well. He's practiced hard. He's hard nosed. If he's going in one direction, and it's hard to stop him, but he needs to learn how to redirect and things like that. But Jesse Bremmeyer was played nose for us last year. He was a key for us. He's coming back. He's turned into a really good leader also for us. So really excited about him. Caleb Jolly going to play outside linebacker. Opposite Keaton. So he was a great contributor last year. So like I said, those guys, Gavin Wells, a returner at middle linebacker, but those 3 positions that we're lacking, we're really don't know what we have right now, and excited to see what these other guys can do.
Again, we're talking the border battle, tonight's game, and a reminder that you can see this game on live on the WCTV YouTube channel. And then throughout the week, you can check out the game on the local cable station for replays. But it is going to be live again on the WCTV YouTube channel tonight. Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys being here and for being the guinea pigs, so to speak, on our first Coaches Show Zoom. Good luck to both of you tonight.
Thank you. And thanks for having us, Darrin.
Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Preview Show. We'll see you next time.